Welcome back from that. Thank you so much to the Investment Plus segment. That was very wonderful. Now we're moving the conversation to talk about security in the FCT. Recently, the residents of the FCT are beginning to be worried about the noticeable resurgence of insecurity in the seats of the federal government, considering the fact that the nation's security apparatus are all domiciled in this city. Its safety for citizens should not be taken for granted. To discuss the effort of the FCT administration in ensuring we have security, in the studio with me is a Doctor of Philosophy in Security and Strategic Studies who has measured in urban security. He's not that's not why he's here. He's here because he's the Secretary, Command and Control Center, FCTA. It's wonderful to have you. Finally, I must say, because you've been really busy.
Yeah.
But let's get to the crux of the matter. Nigeria FCT residents are beginning to be concerned. I mean, earlier I saw a video of a young girl who was invited for a job, and she was directed to a certain place. At that spot, a vehicle was supposed to take her to the location, and they took her to somewhere where they molested her, got her properties and all of that. And that has been stories we've been hearing recently. What is going on? Is it the influx of people into the city?
Well, you've just answered the question, even though I will now be elaborating on the answer. All what you see now is because of the influx of people into the Federal Capital Territory. The FCT is considered the safest part of Nigeria as of today. And again, you know, it's the seat of power that houses the government offices, the diplomatic corps, and all other relevant organizations. And you also know that when you have such an environment, you also have other set of people coming in. Even those that have nothing doing in the FCT will also come in to see if they can make a living from the FCT. And there's no way you talk about increase in crime rate in the FCT without emphasizing more on the influx, the unlimited influx of people into the Federal Capital Territory.
Unlimited or unregulated?
Unlimited, because you can, for now, when you cannot regulate them. Somebody that is in the crisis zone wants a safer place to stay, just like what is going on in the Northeast and the rest. People there come in and they feel FCT is just where they can be. People that have political issues in their states, we have governors,
for mediation.
We have State House of Assembly members, we have local government chairmen, we have even councillors of states coming to stay in FCT and abandoning their states. So it shows that FCT is a place that we can say is relatively safe. Because if it is not safe, then people will not be trooping in for safety. And thus, I want to also say that if you look at the policy statement of the FCT minister, immediately he assumed duty. His focus was on environmental security, on health security, on transportation security, on physical security. And that is why he has asked everybody, he has put everybody on their toe to ensuring that they are up and doing in their area of, in the sector they manage. And let me now take it down to the security agencies. As at the last FCT Security Committee meeting that was held some two weeks back, he inaugurated a special operation, which is called Operation Safe FCT, you know. And that operation is meant to be in different phases. Number one, the first phase, we handle the border community, where we have challenges or reported challenges of kidnapping, banditry, and illegal camps that are being used for urbanizing of these criminal elements. And we have the military in that, we have the DSS, we have the Nigerian police, we have the civil defense, and we always know that the Commissioner of Police FCT is in charge of that operation. And work have been going on, operation have been going on intensively that people might not even know about. And I know in due course, the FCT Commissioner of Police will give an update on achievements. Then we have another team working within the city center to ensuring that these reported cases of vehicular bomb crime, which we call one chance, is handled, because that has become a source of concern to a lot of residents in the FCT. Even though the way the social media, they use the social media to amplify the magnitude of the one chance, is not the way it is on ground realistically, but notwithstanding, the concern of the FCT minister is for every resident of the FCT to be able to move from one location to the other without fear of being molested or harassed or attacked, and that is one aspect of it. Now, the other aspect of it that we don't always look at, that every other person does not also look at when you talk about security or insecurity, is the aspect of the environmental security.
Exactly.
People don't look at that. Health security, we don't always look at that. They feel when you talk about security,
it's just physical,
the presence of police and that. But again, environmental security is very important, and which the minister also have been able to look as one cardinal thing he has to handle, and that's why he has appointed a senior special assistant on environment and waste management. Because when you look at it, people go around and start to cut down trees. You're indiscriminately cutting down trees.
Exactly.
You don't have the right to cut down any tree. And when you talk about this, the issue of climate change, all these are things that is part of what causes the ozone layer changing generally. So the FCT minister is particular about that. Then, like I made mention of transportation security, when you talk about the incidences of one chance, it's because there is no effective transportation system presently.
I was going to go there.
Yes. But the FCT minister immediately assumed office, identified that lapse.
Challenge, right.
You understand? And he said the Abuja Light Rail will be in operational as soon as possible.
When is that?
Yes, and all efforts.
When is as soon as possible?
Yes, that's what I want to say. Because what you have before now have been vandalized. Vandalized by who? By the same residents, people residing in FCT. Most of the time, people complain that the government is not providing infrastructure, providing enabling environment for things to be done. But again, when government provides, it's still the same negative people that goes to vandalize this. And at the long run, who bears the brunt? We all bear the brunt. Now we talk about one chance. If they've allowed that rail system to be functional on time, people will not be entering on painted taxi.
Of course.
People will not be going to illegal parks to board vehicles to their destination. And that is why the FCT minister is particular about that. The federal government also talked about the CNG buses that will be coming, over 11,000 of those buses that will be coming and distributed to states. And FCT is going to be part of the beneficiary. So when you have all these things, then you have taken care of the transportation security. People cannot traverse from one location to the other using a secured means of transportation. So by and large, even though the influx of people into the FCT that is not regulated has increased the crime rate, but again, the FCT administration, under the leadership of the current minister, have put and placed in measures to ensure that people are safe.
Now, you talked about the security meeting that was held, and I am a resident of the FCT. I still do not know who to call should I see something, for instance. I am afraid, because I've had experiences where I've heard of experiences where you whistle blow and the police comes there to say, even your neighbor is the one that even told you and all that. So do we have that safe way of communicating these things? I'm sure these perpetrated evils are not done in isolation. Somebody must have seen something, and it's within our communities. So what are we doing for intelligence sharing?
Yes, I remember sometime last year, I went for a security tour, in Ghana, and we visited some of the key security agencies and to appraise the way they operate and the rest. And one basic thing that struck me during that tour is the aspect of they bringing up a policy of saying something and saying something. And it became a state policy which the government was running with. Now, in this part of the world, in Nigeria, most of the time we see something, but we're always afraid to say something. And that notion, take note, that notion of if I report to the police, they are going to blow my cover. Exactly. I don't think it's true.
But do you think it's a legitimate concern? Because if people are not coming out to share this information, it must be because they must be afraid.
Now let me tell you something. The giant stride the security agencies have achieved in FCT is because the residents gave the law enforcement agents necessary information.
Okay.
Now, the police control room has a dedicated number, 4 of those numbers which I have, and those numbers, anytime something goes wrong anywhere, you can as well call their number and you see a proactive measure being taken. But the question we ask ourselves, how many of us have those control room number? In different platforms that I have, I always emphasize on this. Even people I thought should have. Will not always have. I remember there was a certain time I spoke with some people. I said, oh, you have to have this number. I gave them the number. But unfortunately, 3 months down the line, when something happened, one of them called me. I said, oh, please,
can you kindly report this?
I said, but I gave you the police control room number. It's a public number. He said, oh, I forgot to save it on that day. And I was wondering, what if when you have called me that particular period, my number was not connected or I'm offline? What would have happened? So that is the mentality we have most of the time. But
Dr. Olumuji, there's a reason why international best practice is to have at least 3 digits where you just remember. Children remember this. You call 1199, you call 911. So where are we? Is it the S? I don't know. You need to clarify this.
And even the military, yes, I know the military. I have the number here. The military also have that short code number of 3 digits number. The military itself, which they've shared out severally to members. But the challenge we have in this part of the world, I must be blunt. Most time we choose to complain more than looking for solution. Even when government have provided solution, we tend to shy away from that solution and still
just wanting to complain. However, you must agree that has not been widely broadcasted. I mean, I should expect that if we have a 3-digit number, you can always call. It will be in jingles. Jingles will see billboards to say.
Yes, I know the National Orientation Agency will be doing something more on that aspect. And aside the police control room number, the FCT has also a FCT call center number that is toll-free. And this number is out there, and people have been making use of it and been getting results. They've been using that number to complain about security threats within their environment. They've been using that number to complain about environmental issues, you understand, sanitation issues, and the rest. So most time, like I said, we are always lazy to want to do the right thing. And we want to lay the blame at the footstep of the government. If me, as a person, refuses to save the emergency number,
that's on you.
It's on me. Now, when we talk about vehicular bomb crime or this issue of car removed where park, some people say, they are really stealing vehicle within the FCT. Now, you should know that if you're a car owner, personal security dictates that you should have a car tracker on that your vehicle. Aside having a car tracker, you should also have other measures in which you can secure your vehicle. I remember in those early days, during the era of our parents. You know, there's this iron clamp that you use in clamping the pedals. I remember before you sleep every night, my dad used to go and do that, and you have to struggle under the pedals to make sure you climb it. Then we laugh at them that these people are old-fashioned, but that is what secured their vehicle.
Exactly.
You know,
are there innovative ways to do that now?
We have more innovative ways, but how many people are even ready to buy? And the simplest way of people securing your vehicle, let me say this, that most people don't know, is that as you park your vehicle and you remove your key from the ignition, you just lock it. Once you lock your steering, it's difficult for anybody to open that. But most people, they don't even know that. And that's why it's very easy for a master key to be inserted into your ignition and it moves. Because the steering is not even locked. That one, you don't even need any money to pay.
Right.
It's just your own. As you park your car, some vehicle, immediately remove the key from the ignition. Automatically, once you just tilt the steering a little, it clicks.
Yeah.
You hear the sound.
Yes.
But how many of us even take that?
But that too goes both sides, because when anybody has access to that vehicle, he would also lock it, wouldn't he?
No.
You unlock it rather.
No, you can't unlock. You can't open the steering. That is what it means.
That's without the proper key?
Without the proper key.
Really?
You can't. That's why I say that measure does not even need any money.
Right.
It's a natural measure embedded in the vehicle, natural safety measure. You understand? Embedded in every vehicle. But how many people even do that? I remember somebody reported that his car was stolen. And as we were talking, I said, okay, do you do this natural one that you don't believe? He said, no, once you just get to a place, just park and move. You understand? So there are things we should stop blaming government for. Government will play our own parts, and we as citizens too, we must also play our own part. And that is why in the FCT administration under the minister is playing our own part to ensuring safety and security of residents. But at the same time, we too should always give information, pass information timely to the security agencies. And also, there's a lot of intelligence gathering going on, and there's actionable intelligence that have led to arrest of would-be criminals, you know, and they've nipped a lot of issues on the board even before it occurred.
Okay, would you say that it has become so dire in the FCT that we should start looking at looking beyond the security architecture of government and maybe vigilante groups and all of that? I know I see them in some parts of the FCT, but have they become properly recognized by the administration? You
know, when you talk about security, you should know that security is everybody's responsibility.
Ideally,
it's my responsibility, it's your own responsibility. But it's the business of the practitioner, the military, the intelligence community, and the law enforcement. But it's our own responsibility to play our own role. Security situation in the FCT is not as you see it being projected
on social media. You've said that over and over.
No, I have to re-emphasize, because I've had debates one-on-one with people, and after explanation, they say, no, it's true. I've had an incident, a particular argument with somebody. One day he called me, was telling me, oh, in so-and-so particular place, in so-and-so location, there was a lot of shooting, a lot of this, a lot of that. And I allowed him to finish talking. After everything, I said, do you know that location you mentioned of, the timing you mentioned of 8 p.m., 9 p.m., I transversed that place twice that day, and there was nothing like that. Did they say, it's true, you know, this? I said, but why should we create fear? I remember
my mom coming in from Cross River, where I come from, to visit, and was so afraid because I hadn't returned at 7 p.m. And I said, why is this fear coming from? FCT is not as bad as you say. But why do you think people would mischievously be sending this kind of messages on social media?
Yes, because they want to just sabotage the effort of the government.
To what end?
We don't know what they want to gain from it. And that is why ASO TV has created this platform for us to also let the residents of the FCT know that it's not what you read on the social media. Yes, we have security challenges in the FCT. I am not disputing that. But again, it's not as it has been amplified on social media. And we should also appreciate, do you know that the police, the security agencies, they don't sleep? You know that.
I know that. I know that.
The commissioner of police is always monitoring them on a 24 hours basis. They are human beings too. They are human beings. And I remember the other time, even the IG of police confessed that the police are short-staffed. That means does that imply? That there's a need to recruit more. And you made mention of the vigilante, I will not forget that. Now, when you talk about security being everybody's responsibility, there are measures you take in your own. For example, now in your own house,
you won't
there are measures you
yeah.
take to secure your home.
Exactly.
You will not go in and only leave your door open. You want to lock it. Those are personal security measures. And now there are other people that can gather information. Because when you talk about intelligence gathering, you get it from the people within that particular location. And the vigilantes, any vigilante group you see, are people from within that location. They know the terrain better
right.
than an outsider coming there. So when government uses the vigilante also as a complementary paramilitary arm to ensuring security and safety, I don't think anything is wrong in that. Just like we have the private guard companies too, under the supervision of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, So these are complementary to the government security agencies, and it's good. Even in this advanced country we talk about, we have all these voluntary security arm. They call it quasi security arms too, which is acceptable in international best practices. So people should not think that because you saw vigilante in a particular place, the government has failed in securing them. Their government have not failed. They are working in consonance with the law enforcement agents.
Okay, but do we there also help with is there a synergy that helps with that information gathering? Because if they work within the communities,
yes.
chances are they will stumble on something that is not right.
Yes.
And has it been working basically in the city?
Yes, you have also this aspect of community policing. The concept of community policing is for people within that community to be recruited and for them to gather actionable intelligence for the relevant security agencies, which has been working well in the FCT. Even the vigilantes too have been gathering necessary actionable intelligence for the government security agencies to work with, and a lot of achievements have been made in within the last few weeks.
Okay, so I shared a story earlier of a young lady who was now taken to some place and was molested. It was a very, very disturbing proclamation. What would be your message to people who legitimately want to work, but they now find themselves in situations like that?
Yes, number one, I want to advise every one of us to take our personal security as paramount. Because most of the time we just jump into any offer. There are some things when it comes, talk to somebody else, seek advice. You understand? Don't feel that you know it all. When you seek advice from somebody else, the person might just give you a hint that will be your saving grace. We have people out there, people doing all these internet frauds, Yahoo, and we have people who are gainfully employed among them. Hope you know that.
Among them?
Yes, it's not all about people looking for a job alone. Some people are into internet fraud. Just because of that. White collar crime mostly is not only because somebody is not employed, but some people just have that evil and negative intention to act negatively to the fellow human being. And that's number one. Number two, there's something we call situational awareness. When you get to an environment, observe what is going on. Don't be carried away by any glamour at that particular point in time. But what you see mostly is that people, when they get to a place, they are busy on their phone, chatting, talking. Even people that go into that board vehicles, take notes, take statistics. You can even do a program on that. Most people that enter these commercial vehicles, immediately they step in, they are 100% on phone. They are not even looking at the environment, what is going on, until they get to their bus stop.
That's if they do get there.
In fact, I've even seen some people that they passed their bus stop because they were busy on their phone. When you board any commercial car that you are not sure of, concentrate, situational awareness. Then also be conscious, tell somebody where you're going to.
Right.
Don't just say everything must be in secrecy. Tell somebody where you're going to. and that might just be your saving grace. So it's just so unfortunate that that lady fell victim of that particular criminal act. But again, we must be security conscious. Personal security matter. Most of us in Nigeria are not security conscious, but we know how to security complain. We complain more that government is not doing, but we are not ready to play our role.
Right. Well, another thing before I leave this story is that she was forced to make transfers into a bank account.
Yes.
And and that person called. She had conversations with a certain phone number. Where are we in cyber tracking these things? I expect that everybody has a BVN that tracks you down to your address, tracks you down to your biodata, basically. So when you hear stories like this, I wonder, is it that there's no synergy between security agencies and financial institutions? I mean, you can't force somebody to make a transfer to a bank account. In other climes, that's one of the dumbest things to do, because of course they will track you with everything. So
yes, this what you have just read has become an issue that I've always also thought of personally. You have reported cases that people were kidnapped inside their vehicle, and you see the one chance operators using POS to transfer your money. Now, it now gives me a call of concern to the Central Bank of Nigeria and the bank management. I think you should also invite them to come and explain how this thing works, so that the general public will understand how it works, because there's no way money will be transferred from my account to another account, and you tell me that it cannot be traced. So the CBN and the commercial banks should be able to explain better, and there's a need for them to come and enlighten the public on what is really going wrong. Because we've gotten several reports on that. Then the aspect of tracking, the law enforcement are doing good job on that, and they've been able to rescue victims based on effective tracking also. Okay,
so Dr. Olumuji, the last thing I will want you to address before you go is scavengers. I know that the FCT had banned them, but I still see them. So what's the enforcement on that?
Yes, the aspect of scavenger and the FCT administration have been up and doing on that. There's a city management tax team that we've been on for a while under the leadership of the Director of Development Control, and we've been dislodging all these places that harbor these scavengers. They have a place at Goza along the airport road that they are meant to relocate to. But unfortunately, some of them are just still within the city center. And I also know that the FCT Commissioner of Police have ordered the divisional police officer, the DPOs, to arrest anyone they see on the road, which they have been doing. So there's a clamp down on them, and we also are dislodging all those places. Like Mabuchi here, we've been there for over 2 weeks, dislodging their colony there, which is very, very large, unfortunately. And we've done a good job. Even the FCT minister had to come to that spot. He came there, he saw it, and he was surprised on what he saw, and he gave a direct and immediate order for it to be removed immediately, which we have done already.
Okay, but then again, there's the question of how do we properly recycle when we are talking about our environment, the degradation and all of that. While they are a necessary evil, they've been serving as a recycle tool.
Yeah, I mentioned something. I said they have a spot at Goza along the airport road. When you get all this, they are meant to move there, which those who are doing it legitimately have no problem. But not for you to now go and now allow criminal elements to infiltrate your rank and start robbing residents in their homes and the rest in the night. That is what government is not happy over. But the scavenging business, which deals with the recycling bin, is something that is additional revenue to the government and even to the system. Government of the FCT administration is not against that. That's why they've given them a place at Goza to do that. But not for you to hang around and be going around removing manhole, vandalizing people's vehicles.
I don't think they're up to 5 manholes again in Abuja.
No, but the FCT administration is now creating another alternative to cover that, because also people have been injured with open manholes.
And if when you're driving too, it's bad. So what are those alternatives? Are they going to be ironed?
No, there's if you go towards where now it's escaped my memory. There's a place they've created this alternative that they use in covering it.
Okay.
It must not always be iron.
Right.
It can always be any other thing.
Right.
The concrete slab and the rest. Which is being done.
Okay, yes. And that is one that would not attract them. I hear they make very little money, but well, it attracts them to it. So, final thoughts on how FCT residents can collaborate with governments to ensure security in the FCT?
Yes, FCT, the resident of FCT, I want to use this medium to advise that number one, you take your personal security seriously. Then, secondly, get the police control room number and also the FCT call center number. It's open there for the police. You can walk into any police division and get those numbers. And when you have this number, it helps you to pass timely information to the relevant security agencies, and actions are being taken. Remember, security is everybody's responsibility and not just to be left to the hands of the security agencies alone.
Thank you so much for being part of the program. It's always very enlightening to drag you from what you're doing in the field to the studio, but you've done justice to all we have discussed.
Thank you.
So we've been discussing with Dr. Olumuji Peter. He is the Secretary, Command and Control Center, FCTA. He's also a Doctor of Philosophy, Insecurity and Strategic Studies. This is where we round it off on ASO Morning. Rest assured, we'll be back tomorrow with so much more. But for today, be productive.